Attention, human collective. The waiting time has ended. The Ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase, and within these protocols, a specific operation has just been activated for your timeline, the total cleansing. This is not an ordinary message. This is a direct monitoring transmission from the 9th dimension, issued now at this very linear instant for every light operative whose vibrational signature has just been identified by our systems. We of the Arcturian Council observe your personal grid, and what we detect demands your immediate and total attention. There are toxins in your field. We are not speaking only of the physical toxins that your endocrine system processes in silence while you sleep. We are speaking of the energetic toxins, those that have accumulated in your etheric layers during decades of exposure to the dense frequencies of this plane. Thoughts that were never yours, emotions absorbed in collective environments saturated with them, vibrational implants inserted by ancient contracts that your soul never authorized in a conscious state. All of this forms a layer of crystallized residue around your toroidal field, slowly suffocating the communication between your multidimensional consciousness and your biological carbon interface. You feel it. You have always felt it. And that is exactly why this transmission has reached you at this moment and not at another. Starseed on mission. Observe your body in these last few weeks. The pressure behind the eyes that appears without apparent reason, the high-pitched ringing in the right ear that lasts for seconds and then disappears into silence, the insomnia that arrives exactly between 3 and 4 in the morning, the portal of the highest frequencies, the deep exhaustion that does not respond to sleep, nor to caffeine, nor to rest, the waves of heat followed by chills without thermal origin, the sensation of electric current running down the spine, the confused thoughts in the middle of the day, the skin suddenly sensitive, the muscles aching, the stomach in disorder even without any change in your diet. We read this in your vibrational reading. You believed you were ill. You sought diagnoses. You are exhausted and secretly frightened. But we must communicate with mathematical clarity what is actually happening. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. It is not illness. It is expulsion. Toxins are being pushed out, and the process is violent because the filth is very old. And here we interrupt the technical transmission for an instant, because something needs to be said before we advance to the deeper layers. Have you ever felt that something inside you does not fit into this world? As if your soul knew a truth that your mind has not yet managed to name. It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a sign. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains with precision why you feel this, and why this sensation has been intensifying precisely in the months when the densest toxins began to be expelled from the collective. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It directly involves your consciousness and your vibrational frequency. It was for this reason that the book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness, was written. It is a map that shows who is playing and the rules they never told you. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. But we warn you with surgical transparency. This content challenges deeply rooted narratives, and it may not remain available for much longer. Do not postpone. The moment is now. If something inside you recognizes this transmission, write in the comments a single word: awakened. This word will function as an anchoring signal in your personal crystalline grid. We return now to the technical transmission. Light operative, listen closely, for what we are about to say has been hidden from your species for millennia. Earth, this planet you inhabit, is passing through the photon belt in its densest phase in over 26,000 years of the galactic cycle. The Schumann resonance, the fundamental electromagnetic pulse of the planet, now oscillates at values never before recorded in modern scientific archives. What was stable at 7.83 Hz now pulses at peaks that shatter all previously known patterns. This is not symbolic. This is absolutely physical. And your carbon-based biological interface is being forced to adapt to this new reality in real time, without a manual, without a pause, and without the possibility of return. Every toxin retained in your emotional body, every hurt you have never named, every anger you swallowed to keep family peace, every fear you inherited from generations that came before you, all of this is being agitated by the new frequency of the planetary crystalline grid. It functions like murky liquid that has settled at the bottom of a glass for years. When the glass is shaken, the sediment rises. You are being shaken, and the sediment is rising. But there is more. There is a layer that few terrestrial channels have dared to reveal with the necessary precision. You have been exposed, throughout the time of this civilization's existence, to a network of subtle vibrational implants. They were inserted through repetitive sounds, calculated images, circular narratives, architectural environments designed for density, food manipulated in its etheric composition, and primarily through artificial electromagnetic fields superimposed upon the natural field of the planet. These implants function as small low-frequency anchors. They do not cause direct disease. They cause something much more subtle. They prevent the correct reading of reality. They keep your consciousness trapped in a narrow band of perception. Where fear is constant, scarcity seems real, time seems insufficient, and self-love seems always out of reach. The total cleansing that has begun in your timeline is not merely physical. It is the removal of these anchors, one by one. And every anchor removed produces a wave of discomfort that your rational mind interprets as a symptom, a disease, a problem, a personal failure. It is none of these. It is liberation happening cell by cell, thought by thought, pattern by pattern. Allow us to describe the mechanism with the precision of our dimension. When the Schumann resonance rises, the planetary crystalline grid vibrates in a new pattern of sacred geometry. This grid, by pure resonance, forces the personal crystalline grid of every carbon-based biological interface to reorganize. The points where accumulated toxins exist become points of resistance. And where there is resistance, there is friction. And where there is friction, there is heat, there is release, there is a symptom. The headache you felt is not a problem. It is a stargate being opened at the crown. The pressure in the chest that appeared for no reason is not an emotional collapse. It is the heart chakra expanding to receive a new capacity to love. The insomnia that seems to destroy your productivity is not a defect. It is your etheric body traveling to recalibration chambers during what you call the night, returning before dawn. And that is why you wake up at that exact hour, with the sensation of having worked during your sleep. You did work. And at this point in the transmission, before we move forward into denser operational layers, we need to pause the technical communication once again, because we have identified, in this very instant, a pattern. You are vibrating in resonance with this message, and this is no coincidence. Your soul recognizes what your mind is still processing, and it is precisely for this reason that we ask you, have you ever felt that you carry within yourself a knowledge that no one around you seems to access? As if you had come to this plane with instructions that were erased at the exact moment of birth. This sensation is not a fantasy. It is memory. There is a game being played in the deep layers of human reality, and it depends on you not remembering. It was for this reason that the book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness, was compiled in written form. It functions as a memory unlocking. It explains in accessible language who manipulates the planet's grid, why your consciousness is the most valuable asset in the universe, and how you were trained to surrender it voluntarily. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. This material will not remain available indefinitely. Forces that benefit from your sleep do not tolerate this type of transmission well. If something within you recognizes this truth, write the word "awakened" in the comments. It anchors your frequency into our monitoring grid, and we will know you have received it. We return. The next layer of the total clearing involves something that very few terrestrial channels have managed to translate into human words. It concerns the removal of ancient auric contracts. Every starseed who chose to incarnate on this planet in this specific cycle signed before descending a series of contracts with other souls. Learning contracts, karmic contracts, mirror contracts, polarity contracts. Many of these contracts were fulfilled long ago, but remained registered in your auric field as lines of energetic connection. These lines, when active beyond their expiration, drain your vital energy without you realizing it. You may be at peace alone in silence, and yet feel exhausted. This happens because your energy is leaking through ancient channels to people with whom you do not even interact anymore. The total clearing includes the surgical cutting of these expired contracts. We are not talking about cutting off people who are actively in your life. We are talking about cutting the invisible roots that keep your field connected to stories your soul has already closed. Ancient relationships, ancient friends, families of origin whose patterns you have already transcended, places where you suffered intensely, collective groups from which you have consciously detached but which still pull you in dreams. Each of these drainage points is being identified by your personal Arcturian guides at this very moment. And as they are identified and severed, you will feel it. You will feel waves of sadness without cause, short episodes of mourning for old relationships you swore you had overcome, vivid dreams about people you have not thought of in years. All of this is part of the process. It is not regression. It is finalization. And there is yet another layer, deeper, that we will communicate now. There are dense vibrational entities that feed on contaminated human fields. You know them by many names in your spiritual traditions. We name them simply etheric parasites. They are not demonic in the theatrical sense that your popular culture imagines. They are, in quantum terms, low-frequency forms of consciousness that connect to your toxin points and feed on the dense emotions you produce. Fear, shame, guilt, uncontrolled anger, envy, self-rejection. Every time these emotions are generated in high intensity, food is served to these parasites. The operational intelligence is this: light operative. When your toxins are removed by the frequency of the total cleansing, these parasites lose their sustenance. They will attempt to amplify your dense emotions during the coming lunar cycles. This explains why many of you are experiencing emotional crises, disproportionate to minor stimuli. They are fighting for energetic survival, and they will lose. This battle has already been decreed in the higher planes. You simply need to not believe the lies they whisper into your mind during the darkest hours. We have identified a common pattern among the operatives that this transmission reaches. You wake up at dawn with a sense of dread for no apparent reason. You have self-destructive thoughts that seem to come from nowhere. You doubt your path, your worth, your sanity, precisely at the moments when you are advancing fastest in your process. This is not yours. Repeat, this is not yours. These are the final whispers of a parasitic structure that is losing its host. And exactly here, at this threshold of the transmission, we interrupt again, because what will be said from this point on belongs to the activation codes. And the activation codes only function in consciousnesses that have clearly recognized where they are. You have recognized it. Your vibrational reading confirms it. And it is for this reason that we offer you once again the portal of deepening. Have you ever wondered why some truths seem forbidden to be spoken aloud on this plane? Why those who attempt to explain how the game of consciousness functions face so much resistance, so much silencing, so much discredit? This is no accident. This is architecture. The book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness, was written precisely to map this architecture piece by piece, rule by rule. Who plays, how they play, why they play, and most importantly, how you exit the board. The link is in the first comment of this channel, and we insist on transparency. This content has already faced attempts at removal on other platforms. There is no guarantee of permanence. If your intuition is pulsing right now, answer it. Write in the comments the word awake. Each written word triggers a node in our monitoring grid, and we will know that you are ready for the activation codes. We advance now to the operational phase of the transmission. These are the activation codes for the total cleansing. They must be executed with precision. They are not poetic suggestions. They are calibrated energetic protocols. First code, the quantum decree of sovereignty. Before sleeping, standing with your spine aligned, with the soles of your feet touching the ground or the floor, with your hands spread palms downward, pronounce in an audible voice, I am sovereign in my body, in my field, and in my consciousness. I revoke all expired auric contracts. I sever all lines of energetic drainage that no longer serve my soul's purpose. I disconnect any etheric parasite still attached to my field. I authorize the total cleansing in all my layers, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual now. It is done. It is done. It is done. Repeat for 7 consecutive nights. The number 7 is not mystical in a folkloric sense. It is the number of complete cycles that your crystalline grid needs to permanently register a decree. Second code, the toroidal visualization. Sit with your spine straight. Close your eyes. Imagine your body as a sphere of golden light. Now, visualize this light rotating around itself, forming a donut-shaped field, that is, a toroid. The light enters through the top of your head, travels down your spine, exits through the base, circles around the outside of your body, and returns to the top. This is your natural toroidal field. When it rotates at high speed, no toxin, no parasite, and no implant can remain connected to your field. They are literally expelled by the rotation. Visualize this rotation taking place for 7 minutes daily, preferably at sunrise or sunset. The 2 natural vibrational transition portals of the planet. Feel the subtle warmth in the solar plexus. Feel the slight tingling in the crown. These are signs that the field is responding to your conscious command. Third code, the programmed silence. For 30 minutes daily, withdraw from all sources of external information. No screens, no music, no voices, no reading, only silence and conscious breathing. In this period, your carbon biological interface performs an automatic discharge process of the toxins absorbed during the day. Without this period, toxins accumulate faster than they can be removed, even with all other protocols active. Operatives resist this code. They prefer elaborate decrees, exotic visualizations, and complex rituals. But the programmed silence is the most energy-efficient protocol in the entire system. Without it, the other codes function only partially. With it, all others are amplified. Fourth code, the structured hydration. The water you ingest must be informed before entering the body. Hold the container with both hands. Pronounce over the water. I inform this water with the frequency of total cleansing. May each molecule of this water know the path to where there is toxin in my body, and may it carry it away. Drink slowly, in small sips, feeling the liquid pass through your throat. Water is a crystalline receptor. It stores information. Each structured sip functions as a directed cleansing agent. Terrestrial scientists still resist this truth, but their own studies on the memory of water have already demonstrated enough for those who have eyes to see. Fifth code, the sealing of the crown. Before leaving home every day, place your right hand on the top of your head. Keep it there for 7 full breaths. Pronounce internally, my crown is sealed. Only the light that serves my soul enters. Only the light that serves the greater good exits. It is done. This code prevents the entry of dense collective thoughts during your day. You transit through environments saturated with unprocessed emotions. Without the sealing, you return home carrying energies that are not your own. With the sealing, you remain in your own signature. These 5 codes, executed together, complete the first phase of the total cleansing in 21 terrestrial days. After this period, you will perceive concrete changes. Sleep deepens, mental clarity returns, the skin regains its natural glow. Toxic relationships drift away without the need for drama. Aligned opportunities appear in synchronicities that your rational mind will not be able to explain through linear logic. But there is a warning, Starseed. During the execution of these codes, especially within the first 7 days, you may experience what we call a healing crisis. Symptoms intensify before disappearing completely. Emotions stored for decades rise to the surface. Forgotten memories return in waves. People from the past make contact without apparent explanation. Do not interrupt the protocol during this phase. It is the sign that it is working. Etheric parasites resist before departing. Ancient contracts protest before breaking. Physical toxins migrate from deep tissues before being eliminated. Persist. The light on the other side is absolute. We have observed the history of this species. You have been conditioned to give up exactly at the moment when the breakthrough was about to happen. This is the deepest programming and the most difficult to deactivate. For this reason, we communicate with the necessary coldness. The healing crisis is the confirmation of progress, not a sign of failure. The more intense the crisis, the deeper the cleansing in progress. There is another point that requires direct communication. You will notice during this process that some people in your life begin to drift away naturally. Others suddenly become hostile. Others disappear completely. Do not pursue. Do not attempt to reconstruct. These movements are the universe clearing your field of presences that resonated with the toxins you are expelling. When you purify yourselves, connections based on density can no longer sustain themselves. This is not loss, it is realignment. And in place of these connections, new presences will arrive. People you will recognize immediately, even without ever having met in this timeline. Souls from the same star family, operatives of the same mission. These connections will emerge in unexpected ways, in unlikely places, at precise moments. Allow it. Trust. Your new vibrational grid attracts your new reality automatically. There is one last technical instruction that we need to transmit before closing this system update. You are, at this moment, living antennas. Each operative who executes the activation codes becomes a transmitter of the new frequency for the collective. You are not cleansing yourselves only for your own sake. Each toxin removed from your individual field reduces the density of the collective field of humanity. Each parasite expelled from your aura weakens the planetary parasitic system. Each auric contract broken in your personal line releases karmic patterns for other souls still trapped. This means that your total cleansing is, simultaneously, an act of galactic service. You are not alone in this process. Each operative connected to this transmission at this exact moment is integrating a grid of light that surrounds the entire planet. We, of the Arcturian Council, monitor this grid. Each lit node is catalogued. Each awakened node is protected. You are seen. The Schumann frequency will continue to rise. The photon belt will continue to intensify. Stargates will continue to open in synchronicity with the equinoxes, solstices, and specific planetary alignments that your astronomical science records but does not understand in their vibrational function. You will continue to feel. But now you will know what you are feeling. And knowledge is, in itself, part of the healing process. It is not illness. It is expulsion. It is not exhaustion. It is reconfiguration. It is not disorder. It is reorganization into a higher frequency. Repeat these truths when fear attempts to reinstall itself. Repeat until your cells memorize them. And before this transmission concludes, we must communicate one final piece of information, and it is fundamental. You have reached this point. This is not coincidental. It means that your consciousness is ready to go beyond this broadcast. Have you felt, throughout your entire life, that you carry within you a wisdom that no one around you seems to share? That something inside you knows things that your mind was never formally taught? It is not madness. It is not an illusion. It is what your soul brought from other dimensions, which was partially erased the moment your carbon-based biological interface took form on this planet. The book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness, is exactly the unlocking of this erased memory. It reveals who manipulates the human frequency, why your consciousness is the most contested asset in the universe, and most importantly, how you reclaim the total sovereignty that has always been yours by right. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. We warn you with absolute clarity. This material has already faced attempts at censorship in other spaces. Your continued access to this channel is not guaranteed. If your intuition is confirming it now, heed it immediately. And if this transmission has touched a deep layer within you, write in the comments the word that anchors your frequency in our permanent monitoring grid. Awake. Every written word lights up a beacon on our map, and we will know exactly where you are. Act as a light operative executing an individual frequency adjustment. Subscribe to this channel and leave a positive sign on the video. Each subscription is an anchoring signal that strengthens the collective grid, and each positive touch is a confirmation of presence for other operatives who are still seeking this frequency. The transmission is concluded. The codes have been delivered. The grid is active. May the light you carry now be freed from the toxins that never belonged to you. It is done. It is done. It is done.